If you want your kids to have better education, be in a school that has good infrastructure and good quality of teachers, then be ready to cough up 250% more than the fee that you were paying in the old school. Well, that's what the management of Garodia International has been telling the parents of those children who have been studying in the old building. If they want to shift the child from the old building into the new one, they will have to cough up 5,75,000.
He has promised us before that when international school is there, new building is going to come up, he will transfer each and every student from this old building to the new building. But now he is asking take out the admission from the old school and again take admission in the new school with fee hike of 260%.
There is also a big canvassing which was done with the kids in the school, mentally disturbing them, telling them that if your parents love you, ask them to take admission in the new school.
Delhi Public School Vasundhara Ghaziabad has increased the fees this year by 25%. Parents are crying foul, saying that they cannot afford an increase in fee almost every year.
ये स्कूल साफ-साफ बोलता है कि बच्चे को निकाल लो, पैसे नहीं दे सकते, निकाल लो, मुझे पैसा चाहिए, मेरे लिए पैसा इम्पोर्टेंट. You are just like an ATM machine. Your kids are just like ATM card.
मेरी एक्सपेक्टेशन थी कि ये बजट स्कूल है और मैं उसको अफोर्ड कर सकता हूँ. बट इस साल अचानक इन्होंने ऑलमोस्ट 40 to 50% हाइक कर दिया है.
ये धमकियाँ देते हैं कि अगर इस तरह से करोगे तो आपके बच्चे को निकाल देंगे हम. आपको टीसी लेना है ले लो, हम कुछ नहीं कर सकते हैं.
We try to approach the society management, but he has never given us any time.
There is no one from legal machinery or political machinery who's helped us in this cause.
Well, this is not a problem only of Mumbai and Delhi. This is the second time we're taking up this particular issue on the show, because the last time we took up the issue, the representative of the government promised us action that we still haven't seen. In Hyderabad, in Gurgaon, in Bangalore, in Noida, in Chennai, in Kolkata, in Kochi, in Kerala, parents over the last 1 year have protested against the increase of fees by schools, by private schools who have they're not being regulated, they're not following any rules, they are not in fact keeping the PTA group or the PTA association in the loop. We also reached out to the management of the two schools in question today, Garodia International School here in Mumbai. We asked them for a response. They sent us an email. They said the parents of the existing school have been given the option of taking admission in a new facility, and as an incentive for them to move, they've been offered a 30% discount in the fees of the new school. The parents, however, can choose to continue in the existing school. It will continue to function as long as there are students in the classroom. However, new admissions to any grades have not been accepted. I want to point out here a couple of things, that the new school has the same affiliation number as the old school, which fundamentally means they're the same school. What you're doing is moving students then from one building to another and increasing the fees while you do so. Also, parents have told us that if you no longer admit children to the old school, after a point that school will wind down and it will close, which means you're giving your children an ultimatum. One parent actually pointed out to us that the school has been telling their children, I'm quoting what we played out on the show earlier, the school has been telling children that if your parents love you, they will move you to the new school. There must be a regulation to crack down on this. This sort of behavior, as far as children are concerned and their lives and their minds are concerned, should not be allowed. Our reporter also spoke with the school with the chairman, Om Pathak, over the phone. He told her, and I quote, I'm not aware of the fee hike. The principal of the school must have increased the fee. These allegations against me are baseless and incorrect. Today, if people can question electronic voting machines and the government, they can question anything. This is in reaction to the questions in Ghaziabad's DPS school. I'm not really sure why Mr. Om Pathak, the chairman of the DPS school in Ghaziabad, is questioning or bringing in electronic voting machines and the government. Parents have told us that he also claimed, do whatever you want, I am not afraid of anybody. Let's begin our discussion for today. And if you are a parent right now in any part of the country and you're distressed by what is going on, our phone number will be available to you at the bottom of your screen, and we have people in the studio who can help you out. Our plea remains the same. Governments across various states, led by the government in the center, must regulate private schools, must regulate the way fees are set and fees are charged. This sort of random increases of fees are just not okay. Where are parents going to bring up the money from? We all make salaries, we all pay fees, we all pay rent, we all pay EMIs. We cannot completely cough up money just because you say so. And most parents, as we understand, research tells us, will do whatever it takes to give their children the best. What these schools are doing, simply taking advantage of that emotion. Jayant Jain is the president of the Forum for Fairness in Education. Meera Dilip is an education activist joining us in Pune. Advocate Ashok Agarwal is the national president of the All India Parents Association. Yatish Rajawat is the chief strategy officer of Local Circles, which is a group of people who are fighting for justice for parents of various schools. Through the course of this conversation, Raman Mallik, the spokesperson of the BJP, will join us as well. Biju Nambiar is a parent who joins us in Mumbai. Arvind Tiwari is also a parent right now in Mumbai. I want to start with a few stories. Biju? Tell us what you're facing right now, and I want to applaud you for coming forward, because a lot of parents we spoke to wanted to conceal their faces because they said that the schools were targeting them, and that has actually, in the report since we did the last show, gotten worse. What are you facing as a parent, Biju?
You know, what we are facing is not just about a fee hike or not just flouting of certain norms. I would term it as a white-collar mafia. The kind of arrogance, it has crossed such limits that there is absolutely no respect for ethics, values, rules, regulations. You know, it's just crossed certain limits.
Give us the specifics. Give us specifics. What are you talking about?
So this school that our kids go to, Garudia International Center for Learning, this was established about 12 years ago. When they started this, they actually just took about 2 floors within a building where an ICSE section was already functional. Now, since there were only 2 floors, all they could provide were a few classrooms and a small dingy staff room. So can you imagine, the children did not have a library, no science laboratories. Even the school auditorium and the playground had to be shared with the ICC section. Now, through the 10 years, as we kept asking him when would we get these facilities, he kept promising there is a plot close by, and when the building comes up, I'll shift you there. Now, after 10 years, when the building has come up, he's positioning that building as a brand new school. And what he has told these students is, if you want to come to that school, you'll have to exit from here, take fresh admissions, and the fee hike will be 262%. So to give you an example, for a grade 1 child, the fees right now is 1.5 lakhs. In the new school, the child has to pay 5.75 lakhs. You know, here we are debating about 10 and 12 and 15%. This is, we're talking about
5.75 lakh rupees for the first standard.
5.75 for a first grader. And after increasing, jacking up at 260%, then he offers a waiver of about 30%. Now, even considering the 30%, it is still 230% over the current fees. And we are not, the current fees is not at a 10,000 or 15,000 level. It's already at 1.5 lakhs. So the first question parents asked, at 1.5 lakhs, what have I got? We don't even have a laboratory. We don't even have a library. The basic infrastructure which any state board school would have, this international school doesn't have. So even the basic facilities are denied, and now you have not even kept your promise. Parents have been patiently waiting for 10 years. Finally, when the school is ready, you have no value for these children, and you have no conscience when you look at these children and tell them that you have no choice. You'll have to leave or take admission. And I want to bring out this point that there is a lot of manipulation and deception happening when he's giving an assurance saying, don't worry, I will not be closing the existing school. You continue staying here. But at the same time, he has stopped all enrollments to the current school. So if you plan to continue, why would you stop enrollments? And all the teachers have been transferred to the new school. If you look at the website of the new school, it says established since 2004. Now, if it's a brand new school, how can you put the history of our school?
So you're saying it's all lies.
Yeah, all the testimonials are of our children. All our staff has been transferred over there. All the parents' testimonials are our parents. This school is now hollow. And there is no UDIC number for this school. You know, as we were investigating, we realized there is no UDIC number for the current school. And
I want to bring in Meera Dilip right now. Meera Dilip, I saw you raise your hand. This is, like I pointed out, not a Mumbai specific or a Delhi specific problem. It's across the country. But this case of Garudia International is shocking, Meera Dilip.
Yes, it's very shocking, and I would first like to ask is how can CBSE, they can use CBSE affiliation to the new campus, because when you change the area or even if you change the building, the new address has to be there in the affiliation. So I would request parents to write to CBSE to check whether the new school has got an affiliation. How can they use the old affiliation number? It is totally illegal. As per CBSE bylaws, it clearly says that the address which is the affiliation is given to the school, where the address, the area and the building number, everything has to be mentioned when the affiliation is given. This is totally. And how can CBSE give an affiliation? The audit of accounts has to be go to when they get an NOC from the government. Have they got NOC from the local government? Has a process been taken, and then the affiliate, then the whole things.
Yeah, the affiliation is a problem. I also want to bring in K. Yatish Rajawat. K. Yatish Rajawat, I know you wanted to come in, Chief Strategy Officer of local circles.
Can I just add a point here?
Yes, go ahead.
Can I just add a point here, please? See the issue. This is seen as a micro issue of one school acting truant in terms of increasing the fee. The issue is much larger, and it is important that we understand that and distinguish between two things. One is a school acting truant and increasing the fee. The bigger point here is that every school across the country every year hikes its fees. Now, as you know, that Local Circle is a citizen engagement platform, and we've done a survey across the country of almost 48,000 parents and grandparents, and we found out that in 54% of them are saying that their fees has been increased from 11% to 20%. Another 15% is saying that their fees has been increased by more than 20%. And the remaining 1 to 10%. Now, to put these numbers into context, inflation in the country is between 3.5% to 4%. Salary hikes in this country are ranging between 7% and 9%. In this environment, if you have this continuous hike in fees, then basically you are putting pressure on every household in the country. Please understand, absolute fees, parents know when they enroll their child into a school. They plan for that absolute fee, that I will pay X lakhs or X thousand rupees for this school. But what they don't plan for it is the hike that takes place every year. Our focus has to be on this hike, because if you try to control and regulate, as the rhetoric earlier was voiced, that you control and regulate every school fees, then you will land up with affecting school education and quality of education per se.
So what's the solution?
What can be made possible is, the solution is that the hike of fees in school is transparent, is disclosed upfront, and is done in concurrence with the Parent Teachers Association in the school. It should not be a unilateral decision which is taken by the school. Please understand that to move a child from a school is traumatic not only for the parents, but it's also psychologically debilitating for the child, because you're moving him. So parents cannot easily move a child from a school.
Okay. All right. Let me just bring in some more voices. Allow me to bring in the other voices on the panel. I want to bring in Arvind Tiwari. Arvind Tiwari, tell us what's happening right now with your child and with the school that you're dealing with.
Well, I am a parent in the school which is a sister concern of the Garuda International. We are the ICSE section which is housed in the same building where the GICL, the Garuda International, was functioning till now. And the problem is that we have been lacking certain infrastructures, and there was rampant fee hikes for the last 3 years. I have filed certain complaints and inquiries are on. A lot of things were...
Filed complaints with whom?
With the Education Department.
Of Maharashtra?
On the basis of the Maharashtra Educational Institutions Regulation of Fees Act.
Have you got any response?
The point is that the Regulation of Fees Act itself is a very toothless act. And getting much result out of it seems to be a very time-taking, time-tasking job. But the point is that we are persisting. The question here is like, basically the school education department feels that the parent, they test the patience of the parents. The intention is to just delay actions so that the parent gets frustrated and he sits quiet. But the point is that people like us are just pursuing it. So time and again, the department also has to initiate action.
Right.
Now the question here again, with the case of the current issue like of Garuda, the school management has already promised us in the last 2 years that the school is shifting out, the international section is shifting out, and the space once created would be allotted to the other infrastructural issues. So there is no play.
So, but I want to bring in Jayant Jain here. Jayant Jain, are there regulations right now in our states about increasing of fees in schools?
There are regulations, but the problem is that there is no political will at all. In fact, the implementation is the problem actually. Parents are lodging complaint with the education department or even the education ministry, but then nothing has been done till now. Since last 3 years, the Education Fee Regulation Act came into existence in the year 2014. Since then, I think not even a single issue has been resolved by the government. You go on lodging the complaints, it will remain pending for years together. No action has been taken against any of the schools.
Is this a job for the state government, for the central government? Who is this?
It is a job of the state government. But the act is formulated by the state government, and the state government has to look after this. But then there is no political will at. In fact, I would blame the central government also. When there is an incident, small incident, there is hue and cry everywhere.
When
you show it on the TV and all, then there is a hue and cry, and all political parties will come together and fight against that, whether it is a triple talaq issue or any other. But why they are not talking anything about the education? And this is a burning issue. Every day the parents are complaining. Every day there are protests, and parents are being lathi charged, and they are being harassed by the school management. They are exploited. It is like mafia issue. But then why the government?
I want to point out. I want to just clarify here. Section 10 in Maharashtra Fee Regulation Act tells that the parents can approach DFRC. But when you approach DFRC, the Divisional Fee Regulatory Committee, the education department says that parents cannot approach. Whereas it's clearly mentioned in the act, parents, if you are a PTA member, you can approach. Even a single parent can approach the DFRC if he finds a dispute in fee. But then there is not much support given from the education department. Even the DFRC, the Divisional Fee Regulatory Committee, is not functioning. So there are so many cases.
Okay, let me bring in Raman Mallik. Raman Mallik, there are 2 states right now that regulate fees. There's 2 states. Gujarat regulates fees, and Karnataka, the state of Karnataka, is working on a proposal that will be brought in very soon that will regulate fees of private schools. It seems like this is a problem across the country, Raman Mallik. I just want to point out.
Gujarat has already cleared the legislation.
Karnataka has already cleared the resolution. I just want to point out, Hyderabad, Gurgaon, Bangalore, Noida, Chennai, Kolkata, Kochi, we understand Surat and Ahmedabad also have witnessed protests in the last 1 year about fee hikes. Raman Mallik, is the centre looking into a solution?
Right. Thank you for letting me speak now. And it was, I must say that being a parent myself of kids who are in class 1 and nursery, I face the same problem, and I am part of the same feeling that schools are temple of education. They should not be termed and created into business monsters. And if you are creating them into business monsters, then please run it as a business identity and not a trust or a non-for-profit company. Having said that, as rightly pointed, the state of Gujarat has already cleared a law which clearly states how much fees at what level can you take and what is the penalties on first, second and determination on the third offence. Same is being done in Uttar Pradesh. Adityanath ji, Yogi ji is doing the same work on it. In the state of Haryana, please, sir, let me please finish.
So that is not the solution, Mr. Mallik.
Haryana, we have a section 134A.
No, Mr. Mallik, if you start regulating the amount of fees...
I have not interrupted. I would not like to be interrupted.
If you start regulating the amount of fees, what you will end up...
Please, sir, I request you not to interrupt.
Mr. Mallik, if you start regulating fees, then
sir,
you will
I would request you not to interrupt.
Like
hang on. Let him finish making his point, and then we'll come back to everybody to talk about whether the government solution is actually viable. I just want Raman Mallik to finish making his point, please. Raman Mallik, go ahead.
And I have been listening.
Raman
I
Mallik,
would request the parents to listen as well as other people. Right, thank you. Now, the point is very simple, that today where we stand, in my state also, we have come out yesterday night with a circular which very clearly has given a show cause notice. And this list of school runs to around 100 pages. The first 2 pages being the cover note and the notice, copy of the notice, and the rest is the list of schools who are not fulfilling the section 134A, which clearly states that an X percentage of seats have to be given to EWS candidates, and they have to be in a particular manner clearly depicted and shown. So it is not that the government of the day is not ready to look into all of this, and they are very aggressively looking. Even the HRD minister has called in the Gujarat Fee Regulation Act 2017. If I'm not wrong, it is called BFICR, something like that. And that has been called in by the Honorable HRD Minister Javadekar ji, and he's already started to study it. Now, once this is studied, the government is totally in a mood that this whole, this whole system that has been there for the last so many years has to stop. This has to stop, because education, without proper education coming in, new India cannot be created. And new India does not mean that you kill the parents for the money.
Okay,
so government is very clear on this. We are focused. Okay, we are creating and studying the situation.
Okay, all right. Mr. Raman Mallik, let me now open up this debate. One second. Let me please.
I have one question for you.
Okay,
you have a government.
One second, ma'am.
The BJP government, and you have a government.
Meera Dilip, 1 second.
Mr. Mallik, so why is this Fee Regulation Act not implemented?
While the Ministry of HRD has asked for the Gujarat,
one question at a time, please.
Please, one at a time, please. Meera Dilip, one second. Everybody, let's just take a breath. We are actually trying to solve a problem here. I will go, I will start with Ashok Agarwal, who hasn't spoken up till now, and I will give everybody an opportunity. I understand we want to question the kind of moves the government is making to regulate this problem and solve the problem. Let's appreciate that we have someone right now who's willing to talk to us about it. Ashok Agarwal, National President of the All India Parents Association, do you believe regulating school fees is the solution? Because that is what the government is considering at this point. Has this not been the demand?
Yes, certainly.
Okay.
Certainly regulating fees is a solution. And you see, the parents right from Jammu and Kashmir to Kanyakumari, they are fighting against the arbitrary fee hike everywhere and crying like anything. And you see, some parents was rightly saying that the schools are taking parents as a ATM machine and their children as a ATM card. It is very correct. And I will just tell you about 1997, when Delhi private schools increased fee from 40% to 400% on the pretext of 5th pay commission. And it was the first time in the country that the middle class people came on the street, and for 3 months continuously they were going on this fight or that fight, dharna, handbills,
your
demonstration.
Point, Mr. Agarwal.
And ultimately we filed a case in the High Court, and 1998 we got a judgment from Division Bench of Delhi.
Let's focus on the problem that we're talking about right now. I'm going to go across at this point.
Can I just
Yatish? Yes, I'll come back to you.
Can I just
let me complete.
This whole
what is the problem with regulating? And I want to point out that the HRD minister is looking at the Gujarat model. The Gujarat model, for the benefit of our audience, caps fees at 1 second. Let's all calm down for a second. Don't make me shush you like a school teacher. The Gujarat government caps fees for primary, secondary and higher secondary schools at 15,000, 25,000 and 27,000 rupees per year respectively. Yatish, do you believe this will affect the quality of education that is being made available in schools?
It does. You see, moment you cap fees at a particular level, you will prevent certain players to operate in the market. Now, most entrepreneurs who get into education by saying that we will provide a higher quality of services. So they should be, fees cannot be capped. It's like capping the price of other products. This is not a friendly way of creating an ecosystem. Tamil Nadu did the same thing. And what has happened in Tamil Nadu, if you see in the last 3 years, schools have closed down because Tamil Nadu capped the fees. Schools were shut down. You know, DAV schools in Tamil Nadu shut down. No new entrepreneur now wants to set up a school in Tamil Nadu. So the capping the fees is not the solution. The way, and I will like to correct Mr. Mallik, while the HRD minister can call for the Gujarat bill, please understand that the education at school level is not a central subject. The only way that the central government regulates the schools is through CBSE, which is an independent department, which also does not, under its act, has any powers to cap or control fees. All they can ask for is disclosures, transparencies, and better dissemination of information to parents. CBSE cannot say that X amount of fees will be what we charge. And this is not the way.
Education Ministry, the HRD Ministry can. Raman Mallik, my question to you is this.
In fact, education is in the concurrent list. Education is in the concurrent list. Central government as well as the state government is competent to legislate upon it.
Yes. Raman Mallik, my question to you is this. If there's a school right now that's charging 5.75 lakh rupees for the first standard, what happens to the quality of the offering when that money is, that is limited at 15,000 rupees? Is this 15,000 rupees then uniform for all kinds of schools, the ones who have swimming pools and the ones who don't have swimming pools, the ones who have libraries and the ones who don't have libraries? Shouldn't we then also stipulate the facilities that should be available at these schools?
So if you cap the fees, then you will not be able to provide this facility. What has to be done is these facilities needs to be transparently explained.
Let Raman Mallik answer this question. Yatish. 1 second. Raman Mallik, go ahead.
And the fees charged accordingly.
No, I may tell you what the Supreme Court has said. In 2007, the Supreme Court has said that fees has to be justified.
Please, sir, I humbly request you.
And there should be transparency.
Just 1 second. I realize that everybody on this panel is a distraught and distressed parent. I understand your distress. The only way we can solve the problem is by listening to each other. The question was to Raman Mallik. Raman Mallik, the Gujarat model is a uniform cap across all schools. Is that a viable model?
No. Listen, there are a couple of things. As I said, the HRD minister is studying the law that Gujarat state has created. At the same time, it is a very well understood factor that every school giving various co-curricular activities is an added cost. That is also very well accepted. It is also very well known that today the biggest problem why these schools are being churning money out of parents is because of their setup cost. Now what is happening in a lot of private developments, the builders, they form a trust, and that trust, the right is transferred to another trust, and they actually go in for giving huge amount of money and show less amount of money, and the cost of setting up a school runs into 80-90 crores. So that is one part of it. The second basic part of it is what we must understand is why this problem is there. We are crying about one problem, but we are not addressing the major problem that is there. The major problem is that this education standard in the schools operated by the state or the central government is not at par with these schools. And that has been because of the simple fact that over the years, appointment of teachers has been compromised by various political outfits, and that has actually affected the entire state education
this into an opportunity for political brownie points.
This government is very clear. No, I am not taking brownie points. I am also talking as a parent, ma'am. If the schools were, if the education standard was good, I would be the first person taking my kids to a government school. But the problem is that we face, as parents, we face the same problem every now and then. Today, you are talking about everything else. Today, 12% increase year on year. I will give you a small figure. An average of 10,000 rupees revenue coming from one child and around 3,000 children being there in this schools.
Right. Let me just bring in other voices. Raman Mallik, I understand what you're saying. Arvind Tiwari, go
why
ahead.
there is no transparency? Why are we not discussing on transparency? Why can't we bring in transparency in the schools? Why was CBSE not displaying? Why was the notice not sent to the schools when their balance sheet was not displayed?
We are talking of regulating and capping the fees. Regulating and capping the fees alone won't help us. We need to grade and standardize the education and what the quality of education that they're going to give us.
One second, Mr. Tiwari, I'm going to have to stop you for a second. Let me just point out to this panel that if we yell at each other and speak over each other, the audience cannot understand you and we will achieve nothing. This is not that kind of show. On this channel, we don't yell at each other because we don't achieve anything. On this channel, our hope is to actually solve problems. Mr. Tiwari.
So, the point is just not looking, we just need not just regulate and cap the fees. The point is that again, we need to standardize and grade the education. An institution at what level and what standard that is going to provide. According to the standards and the infrastructure that it provides, the fees has to be regulated. The question again here is like we as a parent, like, you know, a common man.
So do you want transparency or do you want regulation or capping of the fees?
Transparency is a must because finally, see, as a parent, I would never say I'm against zero fee hike. Like that is something which I will never take. Because finally, there is a cost of inflation that needs to be taken around. But the point is that the government authorities are least interested. Like, see, a common man is a voter, he's a citizen as well as a parent. Schools want fees from a parent. The political parties want votes from the voters. And government want taxes from the citizens, but they don't want to give back anything to the parents or the common man in general. The acts and regulations that they are creating are just nothing but, you know, empty boxes, which gives you nothing. The concept of PTA was introduced through a Maharashtra Education and Institutional Regulation Act. It's absolutely nothing. That's got absolutely no powers. And in fact, the government itself has given a sleeping authority to the school to raise fees by 7.5% every year.
Right.
And what else do they want?
I want to bring in Dr. Ashutosh Gupta, who's on the phone line right now from Ghaziabad. Dr. Ashutosh Gupta, go ahead. We can hear you.
The chairman of the school, DPSGB.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead, please.
Mr. Om Pathak, what he is telling absolutely lie. For the last 4 years, we are fighting against this school, and the fee hike is in 2014 it was around 40%, and again in this year also the fees has increased by 25%. And there's one day the director of the school has been in imprisonment in 2014 for the fee hike. And the school has gone to the court against the DM order, against the fee hike. And the case is pending in Allahabad High Court. And there is a pendency in the court. So we are facing a lot of problems in this school. And the expenses of the school in 4 years have increased from around 65,000 total expenditure I'm talking about. And it has increased to the level of 1,50,000 this year. And
so, Dr. Gupta, do you want the school fees to be capped or do you want the school fees to be transparent?
Ma'am, there's one thing I would like to tell. The school fees should be transparent, first of all, because schools are, lot of surplus money is there with the school. They are transferring funds from one society to another society. And this is the one problem which is facing all over the India.
All right, let me bring in Prasad from Mumbai. Prasad ji, आपका problem क्या है? आप क्या बोलने वाले?
So नमस्कार, मैं एक पेरेंट हूँ
जी,
और मैंने मेरे स्कूल ने 2010-11 से आज तक हर साल फी बढ़ाई है और बहुत सारे लॉज को भी तोड़ा हुआ है, जिसके अगेंस्ट में मैंने गवर्नमेंट के कई डिपार्टमेंट के पास कंप्लेंट की है और कंप्लेंट के ऊपर मैंने आरटीआई भी किए, मगर ये सिलसिला खाली पेपर पे ही चल रहा है। स्कूल के खिलाफ प्रूफ देने के बाद भी उनके ऊपर कोई भी एक्शन नहीं हो रहा है। तो मेरा क्वेश्चन एक ही है कि जो ऑफिसर प्रूफ देने के बाद भी स्कूल के ऊपर एक्शन नहीं ले रहा है, ऐसे ऑफिसर के ऊपर क्या एक्शन होना चाहिए?
Jayant Jain, this is also a problem that you have faced in the past.
Yeah, everybody is facing this problem. Actually, no action has been taken. I am telling you that the Capitation Fee Act, Maharashtra Capitation Fee Act, Prohibition of Capitation Fee Act came into existence in the year 1987. But till date, not a single complaint has been registered under that act. Because every school is taking capitation fee, every school is taking donation in different names. But then why the action is not being taken?
Is that because the officers are inefficient,
they are hand in glove with each
corrupt?
other. Even the government is hand in glove with each other. There are two aspects, like one is that educational cost, and another is infrastructure cost. Now the thing is that schools are collecting the infrastructure cost. They are just putting big buildings, putting marble and granite and everything. That this cost is being collected from the parents. Why this is happening? If you collect only educational costs, then I think it won't be more than 25,000 per year. But then the other costs are included, activity charges and books, uniforms, this and that. And indirectly they are collecting more than 50 to 80,000 rupees extra from each parent. So that is happening. And why the government is not taking any action? The thing is that there are court orders, there are judgments also, there are act also, everything is in place. Because but the thing is that the government has failed totally to take any action against the schools.
Against the schools. Let me bring in Raman Mallik. I see you, Raman Mallik, with your hand up. What would you like to say? Why isn't the government taking more action?
Ma'am, I would like to raise this. Pardon?
Go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah. What I'm trying to tell here is, in a particular meeting of a division where some parents had come, and I was privy to that meeting for DFRC meeting, and as per the act, a lot of states, the act does not give teeth to DFRC at all. They can suggest, but they cannot get it implemented. So there has to be certain changes brought in. Those changes, at least in a lot of states governed by BJP, are being looked and taken care of, and very soon they would be showing the results. But at the same time, we must understand that it is a problem. A school teacher comes in, they are there for a particular period of years, probably 2 to 3 decades. Now, this entire system with the pay hikes and everything carries on. A lot of schools are not even doing the pay hikes as per the recommendations. So this transparency is number one, which is required, first of all. Second, accountability. Third, we must have a very clear identification, and this I'm speaking not as a government spokesperson or a BJP spokesperson, as a parent also, that the most important thing is that there should be a very clear definition on whether it is not for profit company that is running the operation or a trust, or if it is a business venture. And if it is a business venture, then it should be purely business and taxed as per business standards. And if it is a not-for-profit company, then it must be looked into that reserves and surplus should not cross a particular limit. You are there to run a school, not to open up multiple branches. That is all that I wanted to submit.
Well, that's a fair point. I want to bring in Biju Nambiar here. Biju, what do you want?
Yeah.
See, because if we talk about regulating school fees, the schools will then introduce the school buses, the books, the bags, the karate classes, the judo classes, the canteen fees. Then do you think parents should be allowed to opt out of all of the extra services if they need to? How do you regulate to also make sure that your child doesn't feel excluded if he's the only one who's using a different bag, different shoes, not going to judo classes, not eating in the canteen, not using the school bus? Is that a possibility?
Yeah. I wanted to say here that, when we're talking about placing a cap, I don't think that's a practical solution, because now, for example, I have taken it's my personal decision to enroll my son in an international school, because I want certain facilities and I want a certain kind of teaching for my child. So if you're going to put a standard cap on every school, it's not going to work out. I go for the transparency part. So the way I see it is, a school unit is like the micro unit. So you have the management and you have the PTA sitting. Transparency is very important when you're placing forward the financial aspects. Parents also understand that the school needs to make money to run the institution. Parents also understand there is a certain level of inflation involved. Parents also understand teachers need to be paid. They are also into a certain kind of service. But when the management puts forward these things in a transparent way, we are here to have a conversation with you across the table, and we are okay with a hike. We really appreciate that transparency. But when the school management derides all of that, behaves in a very arrogant way, it bypasses the PTA and announces a very unreasonable figure.
Are they holding to ransom your emotions about your child's education? Is that what's really happening here?
That is what is happening. And you know, we are also talking about the regulation. When the micro unit is not going to function properly, obviously the regulatory authorities have to step in. Like in our case, we have filed a complaint with the Deputy Director, we have filed a complaint with the DFRA, but we really don't know how much we can depend on them, because even in your show we saw that so many complaints are pending with them. So we are not sitting here with a confidence. Although we know the government is our only help, I don't know whether the government will really help us.
Neeraj is on the phone line. Neeraj is a parent with DPS, I understand. Neeraj, go ahead, we can hear you.
May I submit? May I say something?
Yes, yes, Neeraj, can you hear me?
Yes. I want to say something.
All right, we'll go back to Neeraj. Ashok Agarwal. Yes. Capping fees might be detrimental. What about all of the other facilities that schools charge for?
Yes, you see, the law is well settled that school will charge whatever is required by them for the education of my children. And what is required is that we need a national law. And I think the HRD ministry is looking into that. But one more thing which is required is that at least there should be 50% representation of the people in the managing committee of the private school. If it is happened, I think so many controls can take place.
All right, representation in the committee. I also want to bring in Meera Dilip. Meera Dilip, go ahead.
Yeah, I would say one thing is bring in a transparency in the whole thing, because CBSE had clearly mentioned that by January all the schools need to mention the balance sheet, upload their balance sheet, but till date it has not been happening. So we need a redressal system also, wherein you give a time limit by when this has to happen, and when the parents complain, bring in a complaint, when will get resolved. So you don't have, like, you know, you just keep complaining and then it just goes on piling in the files, but you need a redressal mechanism also. What is the time frame that you are going to resolve this issue? These are the two things which I would like to bring in about.
All right, Neeraj is on the phone line. Neeraj, and I also understand that in some cases, school management has turned around and said, do whatever you want, we're not afraid, you can't go to the courts, you can't go to the police. You have no option but to pay the fees or take the transfer certificate and leave, take your child and go. Neeraj is a parent of DPS. Neeraj, आप बताइए आपके साथ और आपके बच्चे के साथ क्या हुआ?
मैंने क्योंकि 2011 से स्कूल की इन मनमानियों के खिलाफ आवाज उठा रखी थी, तो मैंने इनकी जितनी भी कालगुजारियां थी, चाहे वो किताबों और स्टेशनरी और बुक्स और ड्रेस के नाम पे पैसे कमाने का हो, चाहे ये ट्रांसपोर्टेशन के नाम पे मन चाहे तरीके से उगाही करने का हो, इन सारी चीजों को हम लोगों ने डिस्क्लोज किया था. इन लोगों ने 22 करोड़ रुपए के फंड अगेंस्ट द सुप्रीम कोर्ट रूल के अगेंस्ट जाके दूसरी सोसाइटीज में ट्रांसफर किए हुए हैं. वो चीज हम लोगों ने हाईलाइट.
तो कंप्लेंट करने के बाद क्या हुआ?
मैडम कुछ नहीं हुआ. मेरी बेटी को स्कूल से निकाल दिया गया. मेरी बेटी के स्कूल से निकालने के बाद ऑल द गवर्नमेंट ऑफिशियल इंक्लूडिंग पीएमओ, सीबीएसई, स्टेट गवर्नमेंट सीएम ऑफिस, अखिलेश यादव ऑफिस, there are so many inquiries has been going on, but there is no result till now. And I am agree with all the panelists that there should be education dispute redressal committee, and you will surprised to know that there is an order 3173 MS 2007 by Allahabad High Court Lucknow bench, जिसमें ये साफ डायरेक्शंस हैं कि एक एजुकेशन डिस्प्यूट रेडिसल कमेटी पूरे उत्तर प्रदेश के हर एक जिले के अंदर होगी. एंड उस ऑर्डर के लास्ट में एक लाइन मेंशन है, चीफ सेक्रेटरी ऑफ यूपी हैज टू बी कंप्लाइंस दिस कमेटी इन एवरी डिस्ट्रिक्ट एंड फाइल एन एफिडेविट इन द कोर्ट विद इन 15 days. बट यू विल सरप्राइज, आज 10 साल हो गए ये ऑर्डर कंप्लाइंस नहीं है. 4 साल से तो हम इस ऑर्डर को कंप्लाइंस कराने के लिए लड़ रहे हैं. तो देयर इज अ कमी जो बेसिकली है वो विलिंगनेस की है.
There's a lack of political intention. We have a parent right now on the phone line from Mumbai.
कंटेम्प्ट का केस डालिए immediately.
नहीं सर, आपकी तो नई गवर्नमेंट आई है यूपी में. You can maybe ask the new chief minister of UP to take a look at it and to actually look into why these cases have not been looked at by the government.
And believe me, my chief minister in UP will give a befitting reply to people who have been doing all this kind of miscreant activities.
Yes, we look forward to it, and we really hope to get a reaction.
Not for businesses.
In fact, very quickly, there's a parent on the phone line from Kandivali who wants to withhold their name and be anonymous. We understand that, like we just heard, Neeraj's child was taken out of the school. So if you want to not give us your name, that's fine also. Parent, go ahead. We can hear you.
Yes, I'm a parent from Lokhandwala Foundation School, Kandivali East.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so my daughter is studying in the school in senior KG. And we had received a mail, and we were already ready with our uniforms. We were already ready with the ID cards taken for the new division, that is new standard for the first standard. And on Friday, we got a mail from the school stating that your child is being promoted to the first standard, but for that, to secure admission, there is a re-admission formality which is to be conducted. That is secure an admission by paying 55,000 rupees within 6 days. That is, by Saturday, you have to pay that. So this is the timeline that we have received from the school to pay such a hefty amount for the school, and we were not aware at the time of nursery while we were paying a security deposit and also an admission form of rupees 1,000. Again, we have been asked for paying 1,500 rupees for a single form and also 55,000 for securing our re-admission for first standard. And the school has also, when parents gathered and we started a protest under the guidance of Jayant Jain, the president FSC, and after that the school has sent a mail stating that the school being under the minority status institution, the government has no control over regulating
the school. Okay. So we have several problems here. One is, of course, the lack of political intention, which Raman Mallik promises us will be looked into. Do you think, Jayant Jain, if government was more active, more vigilant towards the complaints they're receiving about schools from parents, that we would have a different situation? Because their affiliation continues, their ability and their permissions to function continues. The complaints are making absolutely no difference to the school's ability to continue functioning.
Yeah, the thing is that I think the government should carry financial audit of all the schools, because when you talk about the transparency and all, why the government is not carrying financial audit of all the schools? Because most of the schools, 90% of the schools are profiteering. They are under profit. But then how will you check that? Unless and until there is a committee which checks the accounts of the schools, you will not come to know whether there is a profiteering or not. If there is a profiteering, the fees can be refunded. And I can tell you, 90% of the schools will refund the fees if the financial audit is being done by the government. But the government is not doing. Why? Because 70% of the schools on educational institutes belong to politicians or the builders. So the government is not willing to do anything they are not going to touch the schools or the educational institution. This is what is happening in Maharashtra, I can tell you.
Okay, you don't believe that the government of Maharashtra has the
Even earlier
intention
government
to
or
clean
this
it?
government, they are not willing to do. We have lost the complaints. We made the education minister also, but I think they are just bluffing. Nothing is being done. They said pre-primary doesn't come under us. Then whom to approach for pre-primary? The act is very much clear.
They have come up with such a decision.
Meera Dilip, do you agree? Meera Dilip? Meera Dilip, do you agree?
I agree with Mr. Jayant Jain, because we have met Mr. Vinod Tawde also and Chief Minister also, and lot of reports have been gone, and we have shown them how the school is doing profiteering, what are the complaints there, but there is only inquiry done, but after that there is no action. It's just, tell me one school where the action has been taken. So many complaints have gone, so many inquiries done, not a single school action has been taken. Just pile of papers and parents run from here, one department to another department, but nothing. What is the government doing?
Right. What is the government doing? And I want to bring in Yatish here. Yatish, is it true, do you agree that it doesn't matter which government, old government, new government, this party, that party, that there is a lack of political intent?
So there is a lack of political intent, and there is also a huge administrative gap in the system. That means that none of these entities, look at the state government, who is supposed to take an action in the state government? The district education officer is supposed to be the first point in contact for any complaint in case of a school. Now, the district education officer cannot close down a school, nor can he ban a school. All he can do is issue a show cause notice. And what is a show cause notice? Show me a cause that what you have done. So there is no action within the system that can actually be taken. Even the bills which have been passed by different state governments, including Maharashtra.
Sir, if we start changing, the same leftists and other people would say this is Bhagwa Karan of education. If we start doing anything, there will be a lot of hue and cry about
Mr. Mallik, please let me finish what I am saying.
You shouldn't be worried about a little criticism. I understand, Raman Mallik, that the government shouldn't be worried about criticism.
On some kind of a
should be open to questions.
No, but this is a fact, Faye.
No, we are talking about transparency.
We're talking about transparency, Raman Mallik. We're talking about exercising the laws that already exist, the rules that already exist. Are you telling me you're afraid of criticism in actually doing that?
The minute we touch anything, some selected people in the media and certain political outfits suddenly start calling every move as Bhagwa Karan. What is this?
No, but I believe what you're talking about is the opposition, and they're just doing their job. That shouldn't stop you from doing your job, Raman Mallik. If the job at question that we're talking about, if the job that we're talking about is implementing the rules and protecting parents, you shouldn't be worried about criticism. If you're doing the right thing, then go ahead and do it.
Micro-regulate.
They said that you are interfering into businesses.
Mr. Mallik, I think, has never worked in the government, nor does he understand the administration, how it functions. He just wants to go out on a tangent to basically disrupt the discussion.
Sir, even I understand what happens.
Direction.
No, one second. Yatish Rajawat, go ahead.
Mallik, I would request you, one day, just for a day, you go to the education department, not as Mr. Mallik, but just as an ordinary parent, go and see how you are being treated over there.
Not as a person who is a spokesperson from BJP, but as a parent, I've been going to dharnas and doing every bit that I can as an individual.
Yatish, go ahead.
You don't, ma'am, please. As I told earlier, I have 2 kids. One is in class 1, one is in nursery. And as a parent, I am going to all these dharnas and everything myself also. Not as a BJP spokesman, but as a common man.
But why you have to go for dharnas and all? Why the government is not taking action?
The problem is that the government
every now and then we have to approach the court.
The teachers and
the government say you approach the court. Why we have to approach the court? Why the government is there?
Kind of an arrangement which functions and works for the benefit of the school. So it is not a question of who is in power,
because all these laws are
law and regulatory structure we will bring in, because law and regulatory structure finally fails. It has failed in Rajasthan, it has failed in Tamil Nadu, it has failed in Maharashtra.
So what is your proposal, Yatish? What is your proposal?
Gujarat too. It cannot function like that. So the
laws which were created were not created well.
That the hikes.
Okay, I have to wrap up this discussion. Raman Mallik, let me point out that the justification of the fact that we were mismanaged as a country up until now no longer holds. We cannot write off every government that we have ever had in this country in the past of every political party, including yours,
and you don't get
and the progress that this country has done. Secondly, pointing out criticism from the media and the opposition is not a good enough reason to not do your job. Please continue to do your job. Thirdly, what the parents are asking for very clearly is a regulation of transparency. Put out the information. Tell us where the money is going. Tell us how many children you've collected, how much money from, and what facilities you have spent that money on. All the parents want to know and make sure of is that the kind of fees that are being charged right now are actually valid, that this money is being used for my child, for a good education, because that's what they want. They don't want to be frugal. They're not being stingy. They want accountability from both the government and the schools that they are paying the money to. It is a very, very fair ask, and it is completely within the purview of the Union HRD Ministry to bring in that accountability, and the Education Department of every state to bring in that accountability. Parents at the end of the day, most of whom are salaried, where are they going to bring the money from? Salaries have not moved at all in the last 4 years. That's another question we can ask on another day, another debate that we can have. Where are the jobs that were meant to be created? They haven't been created. We're not getting massive increases in our salary. We can't afford to pay massive increases in school fees. It boils down to that. The government's job here is to A, regulate and insist on transparency, and B, if you have the time, create more jobs, please. Thanks for watching.